Dear students, today we are going to discuss diplomatic methods of Pacific settlement. In the previous lecture, we have discussed the UN Charter and Pacific settlement of disputes. Dear students, first we will try to understand what are diplomatic methods and what are their significance in peaceful resolution of disputes. Dear students, diplomatic methods refer to a set of strategies, tools, and techniques used by nations, international organizations, and other actors to peacefully resolve conflicts, to reduce tensions, and to facilitate negotiations between parties which are involved in disputes. These methods are crucial for the pacific settlement of disputes, which aims to achieve resolution of disputes through peaceful means like dialogue, negotiation, mediation, rather than to resort to violence or coercion. Dear students, now we are going to discuss the significance of diplomatic methods in pacific settlement of disputes. The significance of diplomatic methods in pacific settlement of disputes is multifaceted. Diplomatic methods provide channels for parties in conflict to engage in constructive dialogue, negotiate mutually acceptable solutions, and find common ground. By promoting peaceful resolution, diplomatic methods help to prevent the escalation of conflicts into full scale wars. Therefore, safeguard the lives and well being of civilians and minimize the destructive impact of conflicts. Their students' effective diplomacy also contributes to maintain peace and order in the international system. By promoting understanding, trust, and cooperation among nations, diplomatic methods help to mitigate the risks of conflicts spreading across borders and destabilizing entire regions. This stability is important for economic development, social progress, and the protection of human rights globally. Dear students, another significance of these diplomatic methods are that they are respecting the principles of state sovereignty and self determination. Therefore, allow nations to address their grievances and pursue their interests through peaceful means. By upholding these principles, diplomatic methods contribute to the preservation of international law, norms, and institutions which form the foundation of a rule based international order. Diplomatic methods also provide frameworks for sustained dialogue and communication between conflicting parties. Through diplomatic methods, parties can express their concerns, clarify their positions, and explore potential avenues for the resolution of disputes. This open communication, this adoption of the diplomatic methods help to reduce misunderstandings, build trust, and create opportunities for reconciliation. Their students, by resolving conflicts through peaceful means, diplomatic methods also help to prevent the immense human suffering, displacement, and destruction caused by wars and armed conflicts. Diplomatic methods basically aim to address the root causes of disputes. It tries to address grievances It tries to promote sustainable peace building and reconciliation processes. Therefore, these diplomatic methods try to enhance the well being and security of affected population. So, dear students, we can say that diplomatic methods play an important role in pacific settlement of disputes by offering constructive ways for resolving conflicts, preserving international stability, upholding principles of sovereignty and self determination. These diplomatic methods also facilitate dialogue and prevent human suffering and destruction. Through diplomatic engagement, nations can navigate complex geopolitical challenges, promote cooperation, and work towards a more peaceful and prosperous world. So, dear students, after explaining the meaning and significance of diplomatic methods in the peaceful resolution of disputes, now I am giving you few examples which highlight the effectiveness of diplomacy in resolving disputes. For example, the Treaty of Westphalia. This Treaty of Westphalia, which concluded the 30 Years' War in Europe, is often cited as a landmark diplomatic achievement. Through extensive negotiations involving major European powers and other stakeholders, the treaty established the principles of state sovereignty and non interference in internal affairs. It helped to bring an end to decades of old conflicts, therefore, laid down the foundation of modern international relations. Another example is the Congress of Vienna. Their students, after the Napoleonic Wars, the Congress of Vienna gathered European powers to redraw the map of Europe and establish a new balance of power in Europe. So, through diplomacy and compromise, the Congress of Vienna aimed to prevent future conflicts by addressing territorial disputes, by promoting stability, and restoring monarchies in Europe. The resulting settlement, although not perfect, contributed to a century of relative peace in Europe. Another example can be Camp David Accords. Camp David Accords were mediated by the US President Jimmy Carter. The Camp David Accords led to a historic peace agreement between Israel and Egypt. Through intensive negotiations at the Camp David, Israeli Prime Minister and Egyptian President Anwar Sadat reached a framework for peace, which ultimately resulted in the Egypt Israel Peace Treaty of 1979. This diplomatic breakthrough ended decades of hostility between these two countries and established diplomatic relations between these two countries. The recent example can be Iran nuclear deal. Dear students, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which was negotiated between Iran and the permanent five members of United Nations, plus one more member, Germany. So, this Iran nuclear deal highlights the diplomacy's potential to address complex security issues. Through years of negotiation, diplomatic engagement, and compromise, this joint comprehensive plan of action aimed to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons in exchange for sanctions relief. While the agreement faced subsequent challenges and withdrawals, it demonstrated the efficacy of multilateral diplomacy in addressing pressing global issues. So, dear students, these examples highlight that how diplomatic efforts characterized by negotiation, mediation, and compromise have successfully resolved conflicts, promoted peace, and advanced international cooperation. These diplomatic methods underscore the importance of diplomacy as a tool for resolving disputes and preventing the outbreak of war. Dear students, now we are going to discuss the importance of diplomacy in maintaining international peace and security. As you know, that diplomacy plays an important role in maintaining international peace and stability through various mechanisms and processes. It is diplomacy which serves as a tool for preventing conflicts by addressing grievances, by resolving disputes, and by mitigating tensions before they can escalate into violence. Through diplomatic channels, nations can engage in dialogue, negotiation, and mediation to diffuse crises, to manage disagreements, and find peaceful solution to any issue. Their students, in times of high tension or conflict, diplomacy also plays a, provides a critical avenue for crisis management and de-escalation. Diplomats facilitate communication between conflicting parties, try to find out common ground. They are trying to explore off ramps to avoid further escalation or military confrontation. Diplomatic methods during crisis often involve different types of diplomacy like shuttle diplomacy, high level negotiations, and confidence building measures, which basically aimed at to restore stability and prevent the outbreak of further hostilities. Their students' diplomacy also promotes dialogue and understanding among nations, therefore promote mutual respect, trust, and cooperation. By facilitating diplomatic exchanges like people to people contact, cultural exchange, diplomacy tries to bridge differences, dispel misconceptions, and build relationships based on shared interests and values. So, diplomacy also contributes to a more peaceful and interconnected world. Diplomatic methods, including negotiation, mediation, and arbitration, also play a central role in resolving conflicts and promoting sustainable peace building efforts. Through diplomacy and creative problem solving, diplomats work to address the root causes of conflict, facilitate reconciliation process, and build consensus around peace agreements. Successful peace building initiatives often involve diplomatic engagements at multiple levels, including grassroots, national, and international. Their students' diplomacy also reinforces the importance of international norms, laws, and institutions in promoting peace and stability. Diplomats advocate for adherence to established rules and agreements, uphold principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity, and defend human rights and humanitarian principles. Through diplomacy, nations collaborate within multilateral frameworks such as United Nations, regional organizations, in order to address global challenges and promote collective peace. Diplomatic methods are also crucial in preventing arms race, proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Diplomats engage in arms control negotiations, disarmament initiatives, and confidence building measures to reduce tensions, enhance transparency, and promote trust among nations. Diplomatic agreements such as arms control treaties, non proliferation agreements, and confidence building measures contribute to reduce the risk of conflict and promote stability. Dear students, diplomacy also promotes economic interdependence and economic cooperation, which are very essential for maintaining peace and stability in present globalized world. Through trade agreements, investment treaties, and economic partnerships, diplomacy promotes mutual prosperity, reduce economic disparities, and create incentives for peaceful relations. Economic diplomacy also serves as a tool for building trust and confidence among nations as well as to address shared challenges such as poverty, inequality, and environmental degradation. So, dear students, diplomacy is very important for maintaining international peace and stability. By preventing conflicts, by managing crises, by promoting dialogue and understanding. Diplomacy upholds international norms, it tries to prevent arms races, tries to promote economic cooperation and advance peace building efforts. So, diplomacy plays as a very important role in navigating complex geopolitical challenges and in promoting a more peaceful and secure world for all of us. Dear students, now we are going to look at the various tools of diplomacy. Dear students, there are various tools of diplomacy which states use to resolve issues. The first is negotiation. Negotiation is a diplomatic method which involves discussions between parties with conflicting interests with the goal of reaching at mutually acceptable agreement. So it is a process of give and take, where each party seeks to achieve its objective while acknowledging the interests and concerns of others as well. Negotiation is characterized by its flexibility, adaptability, and emphasis on finding common ground through consensus building. So, the main principles of negotiation are mutual respect, open communication, good faith. There is also flexibility and creativity in negotiation. The example of negotiation is like Camp David Accords. This Camp David Accord was negotiated between Israeli Prime Minister and Egyptian President and US President Jimmy Carter acted as a mediator, as a negotiator. This Camp David Accord ended decades of hostility and established diplomatic relations between the two countries. Another example is Iran nuclear deal. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action negotiated between Iran and the P5 members plus Germany aimed to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons in exchange for sanctions relief. While controversial, the agreement demonstrated the efficiency, the efficacy of multilateral negotiation in addressing complex security issues. So, these examples highlight the importance of negotiation in resolving international disputes and achieving breakthrough agreements that promote peace, stability, and cooperation among nations. Dear students, another tool of diplomacy is mediation. Mediation is a form of third party intervention aimed at facilitating dispute resolution between conflicting parties. In mediation, a neutral mediator assists the parties in conflict to reach at a mutually acceptable agreement by facilitating negotiation and communication. Also, unlike arbitration, where a decision is imposed by a third party, mediation empowers the parties to control the outcome of the resolution process. So, in mediation, the role of mediator is simply to facilitate communication, is simply to identify interests and priorities, and generate options and maintain neutrality. For example, Oslo Accords, mediated by Norway. The Oslo Accords facilitated direct negotiations between Israel and Palestinian Liberation Organization. It resulted in mutual recognition and the establishment of interim self governing arrangements in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Although the peace process has faced several setbacks, the Oslo Accords demonstrated the potential of mediation in bringing parties together to address long standing conflicts. Another example is Dayton Accords, mediated by the United States. This Dayton Accords ended the Bosnian War in the Balkans by bringing together Croatian and Serbian leaders to negotiate a comprehensive peace settlement. These accords established a framework for peace, delineated the territorial boundaries, and created governmental structures aimed at ensuring stability and reconciliation in Bosnia. And these successful mediation efforts underscore the importance of third party intervention in facilitating dialogue, building trust, and achieving durable peace agreements in complex regional and international conflicts. Another diplomatic method is good offices. Good offices refer to diplomatic initiatives undertaken by a third party actor, such as a government, international organization, individual mediator, to offer assistance, to facilitate dialogue, or provide a venue for negotiations between conflicting parties. Good officers play a crucial role in conflict resolution by providing impartial mediation, by promoting communication and creating opportunities for dialogue and negotiation. These good offices help to build trust, reduce tensions, and promote understanding among conflicting parties, therefore, contribute to the peaceful resolution of disputes. For example, United Nations Good Offices in Cyprus, in which United Nations has been involved in facilitating negotiations between Greek and Turkish leaders to resolve Cyprus dispute. Through its good offices, the UN Secretary General and his envoys have supported efforts to find a comprehensive solution to the long standing conflict, including the Annan Plan in 2004. Another example is United Nations Good Offices in Guatemala, in which the United Nations play a crucial role in mediating the peace process in Guatemala to end the decades long civil war. Through its good offices, the UN Secretary General Special Representative facilitated negotiations between the Guatemala Guatemalan government and rebel groups, leading to the signing of the peace accords in 1996. So these examples demonstrate how third-party actors such as the United Nations have utilized good offices to facilitate dialogue, mediate conflicts, and support peace process in various regions around the world. Through their impartiality, facilitation of communication, and mediation efforts, good offices contribute to the resolution of conflicts and the promotion of peace and stability. Another method is confidence building measures. Confidence building measures are diplomatic strategies aimed at reducing tensions and building trust between conflicting parties. These measures are designed to promote transparency, communication, and cooperation, thereby decreasing the likelihood of misunderstandings, miscalculations, and conflicts. CBMs are particularly valuable in situations where there is a history of hostility, mistrust, or unresolved disputes between parties. There are different types of confidence building measures like communication channels. Establishing direct communication channels such as hotlines which allow parties to quickly exchange information, clarify intentions, and address concerns in time of crisis or tension. Transparency measures. Transparency measures involve sharing information about military activities, deployments, and exercises to enhance mutual understanding and reduce suspicions. Cooperation initiatives, confidence building measures can also promote cooperation and confidence by promoting joint activities such as military to military contacts, confidence building workshops, joint training exercises, or collaborative projects in areas of common interest. For example, in the context of the Korean Peninsula, confidence building measures have played a significant role in reducing tensions and in promoting dialogue between North Korea and South Korea and the United States. Examples of confidence building measures include the establishment of military hotlines between two Koreas, include which includes the establishment of military hotlines between two Koreas, the suspension of joint military exercises, and the implementation of confidence building measures along the demilitarized zone. These measures have helped to create opportunities for diplomatic engagement and de escalation, therefore, contribute to the easing of tensions and the pursuit of denuclearization efforts. Another example of this confidence building measures is that in Europe, confidence building measures have been instrumental in promoting stability and reducing tensions between NATO member states and Russia. Measures such as the Vienna document, which establishes transparency and confidence building measures related to military activities, and the Open Skies Treaty, which allows for mutual aerial inspections, have contributed to enhance trust and prevent misunderstanding in the region. So, these examples illustrate how confidence building measures can effectively promote peace, stability, and cooperation in conflict regions. By reducing tensions, by promoting dialogue, by building trust between conflicting parties, through transparent communication, cooperative initiatives, and mutual building efforts, confidence building measures contribute to the prevention of conflicts and the maintenance of international peace and security. By understanding these tools of diplomacy and their real world applications, we can understand the importance of peaceful conflict resolution in global affairs and the various diplomatic tools available for resolving disputes. Now, dear students, we are going to discuss various challenges faced in implementing diplomatic methods of Pacific settlement. Dear students, implementing diplomatic methods of Pacific settlement faces several challenges that can hinder the effectiveness of these approaches. Some of the challenges are like lack of trust. Trust is very essential for successful diplomatic negotiations. Trust is very important for the resolution of conflict. However, long standing animosities, historical grievances, and perceptions of betrayal can erode trust between conflicting parties. Without trust, parties may be reluctant to engage in meaningful dialogue or make concessions, therefore, making it very difficult to reach at a mutually acceptable agreement. Another challenge is power symmetry. Power imbalance between parties in conflict can complicate diplomatic efforts. When one party possesses significantly more power, whether it is military power, economic power, or political power, it may exert undue influence or may impose its terms and conditions upon the weaker party. This power imbalance this can create barriers to effective negotiation and compromise, therefore can lead to unequal outcomes and persistent grievances. Another challenge is unwillingness to negotiate. In some cases, one or more parties may be unwilling to engage in diplomatic negotiations or compromise on their positions. Factors such as ideological rigidity, domestic political considerations, or perceptions of victory through force can contribute to a reluctance to pursue peaceful settlement. Without genuine willingness from our parties to negotiate, diplomatic methods are likely to fail. Spoilers. Spoilers are individuals or groups with vested interests in perpetuating conflict and undermining diplomatic initiative. These spoilers may include extremist forces, profiteers, or hardline elements within government or any other rebel group. Their actions, such as launching attack, inciting violence, sabotaging peace process, can disrupt diplomatic processes and derail efforts to achieve peaceful settlement of a dispute. External interference is another major challenge. External actors like neighboring states, regional powers, or international stakeholders may intervene in conflicts to pursue their own interests. This interference can complicate diplomatic efforts by increasing tensions, fueling proxy conflicts, or imposing conditions that impede progress towards peace. Competing geopolitical rivalries and strategic interests can further complicate diplomatic efforts. Another challenge is complexity of issues. Dear students, many conflicts are very deeply entrenched, like they are identity based, they are related to sovereignty of the country, they are related to the territory of any country, or they are having the nature of historical grievances. These complex issues may make it very difficult to find solutions. Therefore, these complex issues require comprehensive long term approaches to address the basic causes. and to build a sustainable peace. Diplomatic methods must navigate this complexity while balancing competing interests and priorities of the parties. The last challenge which we are going to discuss is inadequate institutional capacity. Diplomatic efforts also depend on the capacity of institutions, such as international organizations, mediation bodies, or diplomatic missions, to facilitate negotiations, to provide support for conflict resolution initiatives. However, inadequate resources, inadequate expertise, or political will within the institutions can constrain their effectiveness in addressing complex conflicts and in promoting pacific settlement. Their students addressing these various challenges require sustained commitment, creative diplomacy, and multilateral cooperation. There's a need for efforts to build trust, address power imbalance, overcome spoilers, and engage with all the relevant stakeholders. These things are essential for advancing peaceful conflict resolution and promoting stability in the international system. In addition to that, there is a need to invest in conflict prevention. There is a need to invest in capacity building. There is a need to invest for inclusive dialogue. So these things can help to strengthen the foundations for lasting peace and security. Dear students, now we are going to discuss limitations of diplomacy in resolving complex conflicts. Resolving complex and deeply entrenched conflicts through diplomacy presents significant challenges and limitations due to the nature of these conflicts. Some of these limitations are like deep seated historical grievances. Their students' many deep rooted conflicts are rooted in deep seated historical grievances, including territorial disputes, ethnic or religious tensions, or past injustices. These grievances often evoke strong emotions and identities, therefore, making them resistant to quick or easy resolution through diplomatic means. Another limitation is lack of political will. Diplomatic efforts to resolve conflicts may be prevented by a lack of genuine political will among parties involved in conflict. Political leaders may prioritize domestic interests, ideological agendas, or power consolidation over the pursuit of peace. Without committed leadership and genuine willingness to compromise, diplomatic initiatives are unlikely to succeed. Another limitation is complexity of issues. Complex conflicts involve multiple interrelated issues such as territorial claims, resource competition, governance structures, and identity politics. Diplomatic negotiations must address these multifaceted issues in a comprehensive manner, which can be challenging and time consuming. Involvement of spoilers and extremist elements. Deep rooted conflicts often involve spoilers. As I told you, that spoilers are groups, spoilers are individuals with vested interest in perpetuating conflict. Extremist factions, armed militias, or hardline elements within government may resort to violence or injections to undermine diplomatic initiatives and maintain their grip on power. Another limitation is power disparities between conflicting parties. So, this power disparity can also impact diplomatic efforts by creating symmetries in bargaining positions and outcomes. Stronger parties may leverage their power to impose terms that are unfavorable to weaker parties. Therefore, it can lead to perceptions of injustice and resistance to diplomatic solutions. External actors, including states, regional powers, or international stakeholders, may also intervene in conflicts to pursue their own interests or agendas. This external interference can complicate diplomatic negotiation. It can fuel proxy conflicts, therefore undermine efforts to achieve a sustainable peace settlement. The diplomatic tools such as negotiation, mediation, and arbitration have their limitations in resolving deeply entrenched conflicts. These tools may be ineffective in addressing underlying structural issues, changing entrenched attitudes and perceptions, or overcoming deeply ingrained mistrust and hostility. The last limitation is fragmentation and divisions among stakeholders. Entrenched conflicts often involve multiple stakeholders with divergent interests, priorities, and objectives. Fragmentation and divisions among stakeholders can complicate diplomatic efforts by hindering consensus building, coordination, and cooperation among parties involved. Addressing these limitations, their student requires innovative and adaptive diplomatic approaches that recognize the complexity of entrenched conflicts and address their root causes. Multifaceted strategies that combine diplomatic efforts with conflict resolution mechanisms, peace building initiatives, and inclusive dialogue are essential for advancing progress towards lasting peace and stability in conflict affected regions. Additionally, sustained international engagement, support for local capacity building, and a commitment to address underlying grievances are critical for overcoming the challenges of resolving deeply entrenched conflicts through diplomacy. So, dear students, in today's lecture, we have seen that diplomatic methods are indispensable, are important for pacific settlement of disputes. These diplomatic methods are important for maintaining international peace and stability, upholding principles of sovereignty and self determination. Despite facing challenges such as lack of trust, power imbalance, and involvement of spoilers, diplomacy remains as an important tool for addressing complex conflicts. By using negotiation, mediation, good offices, confidence building measures, and other diplomatic tools, stakeholders can navigate the complexities of conflict resolution and work towards building a more peaceful and secure world. Thank you.